Well, hello again. Today we're just basically going to hook up a bunch of wires and put a resistor and a capacitor in. Not a whole lot going on. We're going to go ahead and connect B and B and the center tap where they need to go. And I'm going to go ahead and ground this end of this wire right here, which is a filament wire for A and A. And then we'll run the black wire. This one will go to pin 1. And this one will go to pin 5 of the two A's. And we'll find out where they are and get those hooked up. But this one right here will be grounded, so that's really no problem at all. And I think we'll go over here. Let me get some focus here for you. I think we'll go over here and hook up the resistor to the wiper of the volume control that we've now installed in the chassis. And we might even get around to putting this capacitor in. So that's our agenda for this video. We're going to go ahead and hook up the resistor first to the wiper of the volume control, and it's, as you can see, it's a 40,000 ohm resistor. Well, I don't have any 40s and I've been using 39s throughout, so this is what we're going to be using. Okay, and we will connect that. This is your wiper right there, your center connector on your volume control. You got one side, you got the other side, and you got the one in the middle, which is your wiper. And we will be connecting this resistor through the hole in that baby. We're going to solder it right up there like that, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and run the wire from the other side of the resistor here. We're going to run it on down and connect it to pin 4. It's going to be a long wire, but you know, what else can we do? And then we're going to take a look at where this stuff was originally, this capacitor and this resistor. So let's get this resistor hooked up our way, okay? The resistor, a carbon film, which I don't like. I don't like the leads are awfully flimsy. It's not anywhere near the body of the volume control, by the way. Even if I were to bend it down, it would not. This lead would not touch the body. Kind of looks it, but it's not. Anyway, I went ahead and stuck that resistor on there to 39K. Brought the wire all the way down, and I have it kicked off to the side right now, out of our way, until we get ready to actually hook it up to pin 4, which is right here. All right, now let me show you what we got here. This is the resistor we just installed on the wiper, and we brought it down. We just got it hanging. We're getting ready to hook it to pin 4. Now, coming off of pin 4 was a capacitor, and that capacitor was located inside the box. See, I got it colored green. Inside the box right here. So here's what we had originally. This resistor here was the original resistor. Okay, it was 40K. And what they did was they ran it down to a blank tab, I guess, or a blank terminal on the candome resistor, and they soldered it on. And then they ran a wire from that tab all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, and they connected it to the wiper. Well, we did it backwards this time. Now the capacitor, I said, was inside the box. Let me back up here a little bit. And this is the wire from pin 4, the same place as that resistor is hooked. This is the wire that went over into the box. Okay, so we can eliminate this wire altogether. What I plan to do is take this is a 0.10 capacitor. We're going to go ahead and, after we remove, you know, this wire and this resistor, we're going to clean up that terminal. And what I'm going to do is take this and hook it there, and then solder it to one of our unused pins down here on the on this terminal. Get this wire out of my way. It's a pain in my butt already. But we're going to go ahead and solder it from there down into a wire on the unused terminal, and then I'm going to run it over to this end of the terminal strip where all the resistors are, the old, that took the place of the candome resistor. Well, why am I running a wire from there to there? I may wind up putting this over here a little further, I don't know, but I'm still going to run a wire from wherever I connect it over to this end. Now, why am I doing that? Now, let's take a look at our schematic, because you'll see that it does in fact run over to that end of that bank of resistors. Okay, the other end is the one that's grounded here. Now, we haven't grounded it yet, but we don't want it there. We want it connected here. So that's what we're going to do. So right now I'm going to remove the resistor and the wire, and I'm going to go ahead and hook up the capacitor to one of these here and pin 4, and then we'll go ahead and run that wire. We have soldered in now our wire from the wiper through the resistor on down to pin 4. Let me zoom in here and give you a little close-up. It is now soldered to pin 4, and we took from pin 4 the capacitor, ran it on down to a blank tab, blank terminal on this strip, and then we ran from there a jumper wire over to the end of the candle resistor bank right here. So that's all soldered up. So let's go ahead and put some orange in so we know where we're standing. Back up here. Love it when we do the orange. Okay, the capacitor is in, and it is run over to the bottom of this bank of resistors, like so. And we also have our 40K resistor going to the wiper to pin 4. Okay. Now what we have to do, we still have a couple of things to do here before we actually finish up in this section. Right here, I have not yet connected this this side of this volume control to this side of the capacitor. Okay, and there also has to be a wire that comes out of the capacitor. It comes around, comes on down, and connects to the brown wire here. So our brown wire, that would be this one right here, coming out of our transformer, will be going down over here. But there again, I said earlier, it's beginning to get really congested down here. We still have this resistor to hook up, and this one to hook up. We've got to put a ground here. I'm going to have to find a place for another terminal strip. That's all there is to it. This is going to be interesting. There were just so many wires running, so many different directions in this thing. I'm talking long wires. Why they would run clear across the chassis, run down, and then run back up again with the wire doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I've got to figure out how I'm going to do this. I think the first thing I need to do is find out where the audio output transformer goes, and I think it's this hole and this hole. And that should leave me this hole empty. I might be able to use that hole. I don't know. I don't. We're going to have to figure it out. I guess it could be that audio output transformer goes between these two holes right here. If that's the case, then I might be able to go ahead and use this as my hole for my terminal strip. I don't know. But anyway, that's where we're sitting right now, and it's late at night, and I'm kind of tired. So I'm going to knock it off until tomorrow, or until the next time I get a chance to work on it. The last segment was filmed on a Friday, and today is Monday, and I had a really, really tiring, eventful, and really fun weekend. I got to meet some new folks, which you will see in an upcoming Mishmash video. But right now, let me see if I can wrap my mind around what we were going to do. I said, trying to remember some of this stuff after taking a couple days off can be a little difficult. Let me see. It seems to me we were going to connect the two blues and the brown wire. We were going to connect the orange wire, and we were going to connect the two black wires, which go to the all the tubes that had the filament marked with the letter A, which would be these up here, this 35 and 35 and this 35, and down here this 27. So I'll tell you what, I have done some of the work. This was the grounding wire for pin 1 of this bank of tubes over here. I'll go ahead and wiggle this wire so you can see what I'm talking about. You'll remember a couple of, right in the beginning when we started looking at this, we determined, let me see, that this wire right here, which is connected to pin 1 of the 27 tube, which is the oscillator tube, came up around and wound up over here and connected to one side of the filament winding. And it was right here. It was the ground side of that filament winding, because the filaments, the the filaments on each of these tubes, pin number 1 is connected to ground. That's the way I decided to do this. And that's the way they had it set up. So that means pin 5 of one of the other tubes, we're going to have to hook this side of the wire up. So let's see if we can figure out where that thing goes. This one here, if I'm not mistaken, was originally fastened right there. This is where the audio output transformer goes, between this hole and this hole. And it was fastened to the bolt on the bottom of the audio output transformer. And then one of the black leads coming from the transformer was soldered to it right there. I went ahead and removed that old stubby piece of crap wire out of there. So all we have to do is basically set it on this particular, I put that screw in there to kind of hold it while I solder it. I haven't soldered the wire yet. It's still, if I can get this brown wire out of the way. I haven't soldered it yet. So I'll go ahead and solder that in a few minutes. And then once we get the audio output transformer in, all I have to do is remove that off of this brass screw and move it up and put it onto here, which will be like so when I get the audio output transformer in, okay? That's how I'll pick up my ground, right there. All right, let me think, what else was I going to say here? There was something else I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, let me see if I can find the pin 5 that will complete the circuit for our filaments, okay? We know where our ground is going to go, I just showed you. Let's see, one of these tubes has got to have a pin 5 with a black wire on it. Let me see if I can find it. So again, it has to be either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? So let's look for a pin 5 with a stubby black wire on it. That's all there is to it. It's these 4 tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 27 down here. Okay, look for a stubby wire on pin 5. Okay, this is pin 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No stubby wire. All right, move up to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No stubby wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what do we have here? Yes, we have a stubby wire. But you know, let me tell you what's interesting. The next tube up also has a stubby wire, but it's on pin 1. I wouldn't be surprised if that transformer wasn't originally hooked to pin 5 here, and the other black wire was hooked to pin 1 here, which, you know, came up with the ground that way. That would have entailed running, you know, 2 wires all the way across. I don't know about that. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and ground it here, the one side, and pick up pin 5 here. That's how we're going to do it. But the problem is, I don't have enough long wire on my power transformer to reach all the way. I didn't really think I was going to have to do this. Now I did splice a little bit on, as you can see right down there. I haven't put the heat shrink tubing to it yet. The tubing's taped onto the wire here. Now later on I'll take the tape off, slide the tubing down over that solder point, the junction, and I'll shrink it down. And what I'm going to do is I have installed a second terminal strip. Let's turn this around where you can see a little better. I've got 2 terminal strips in now. I've got this one here, and I've got that one there. What I'm going to do is run this black wire here up to this point right here on the terminal strip. Okay, I'm going to solder it on right there, and then I'm going to run another wire from here up, worm its way through up here, and solder to pin 5 right there. Piece of cake, huh? Next, let's go ahead and follow this brown wire out. That's the center tap for the tubes that have the B windings marked on them, which would be the this is the 24, the ABC tube, and the audio output tube, and the second detector tube. Okay, the brown wire comes across all the way across, down, comes across down here and hooks to the bottom of this bank of resistors, which was originally our candome. From there it runs through a 220 ohm resistor. It's supposed to be 206, but I don't have a 206 ohm resistor. All I got is a 220, and it runs through the resistor, comes on across, and winds up being the orange wire to center tap on the high voltage power transformer secondary. Okay? Oh man, that's a piece of cake. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this brown wire, right, which is right here. Follow it down. I'm going to take that brown wire and I'm going to hook it into this side of the power strip that I have. Now, once this is all done and put together and functional, I may come back and change a lot of this stuff. I don't know. Right now, I'm trying to set it up to get the radio working, okay? And I'm trying my best to make it look halfway decent. But, the more you look at this kind of stuff after you've done it, the more you say, geez, I should have run that wire here. I should have run that wire down this way. Well, guess what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. If I get all done, I say, man, I should have ran that wire this way. We're going to take it loose and do it. Don't worry about it. There's no rush to this stuff. The brown wire is going to come across. It's going to hook. I have to avoid this box, okay? Because I've got the line drawn for the box. I don't want the box to be interfering. And we're going to have this up here like this. The box will clear. We're going to solder the brown wire right here. Then we're going to run it through a resistor, a 220 ohm resistor, which is this one right here. And then out of the 220 ohm resistor, we're going to run it down to this point right here. Well, let me see. I'm going to run it from here. I'm having to stop from time to time in this video because I weed-eated all day Sunday in our yards, a couple of acres. And I'll tell you what, there's all kinds of weeds and things. I'm just totally, congested up in my sinus cavities here. Just all kinds of stuff coming out of that grass and weeds and things. So if I stop even more, I apologize for that, but I'm having a little trouble breathing. I get clogged easy now. It'll be that way for the next couple days. Anyway, once we get the brown wire connected here, then we're going to go ahead and take the orange wire, this one right here, we're going to bring it around and we're going to connect it right here on the next wire, the next terminal right there. Let me see if I can get that thing in there for you. I want to be able to get it in place like so. Yeah, there we go. Oop, pull it out with my hand like so. Well, you little booger, get over there. Get over there. Stay there. All right, good. Once we get the brown wire and the orange wire, I'm going to run the orange wire through the resistor to the brown wire. The orange wire through the resistor to the brown wire. And from the brown wire, which is coming from this direction, we're going to connect it to this end of the resistor bank right there, which means I'm going to run a wire from here, from the brown wire. I may reverse these, put the brown here and the orange there. I'm not sure. I got to take a closer look at it. Anyway, we're going to run it on down to this end of the candome resistor and solder it in place. We'll probably use this terminal right here since I think I still got a hole there. If not, I'll just put a jumper here across and I'll solder to this one. Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm not picky. I can solder it. See, I can jumper from here to here to here and then go ahead and solder either one of these. Okay, all the way down to this point right here. I can't go here because that's where the resistors are hooked up. This thing here cannot be used. But I have this one, this one, this one, and this one that I can utilize for connection points. And get real technical, this one, this one, this one, and this one on the other side. Lots of connectors, lots of terminal spots, okay? So let's go ahead and get the resistor in, get the wires hooked up, and get that part done, and go ahead and get this black wire connected. And run these things a little neater and see how it works out. We're making some good progress. The orange wire has come over and I have it connected, soldered up now to the one side of the resistor. Let me zoom in here a little bit. And I have the brown wire soldered to the other side. And let's take a look at it one more time on the schematic. The brown wire comes in from this side and solders to this side of the resistor. The orange wire comes in from this side and solders to this side of the resistor. And we also have the brown wire connected right here to the bottom of the resistor bank right there. And the way I did that was come off the brown side of the resistor. I should have pointed that out. It's on the brown side of the resistor wire, okay, the wire that's brown. I just tapped in right down in there to that hole below the terminal. All of these terminal strips have holes down at the bottom below the terminal, as you can see. You can use those as solder points also. I just soldered a wire in there. On the other side is where you apply your solder after you run your wire through. And then I ran it on down and I connected it to right here, okay, which is this side of the resistor bank. Now if we take a look, you'll see what I did. I took a wire, a solid wire, 22 gauge solid wire, and I ran it through this one, up through this one, and back through this one. So all four of these wires now are connected to this one point right here at the end of the resistor bank here, okay? So this point here is the same electrical point as this right here. Well, what else have we done? The next thing we did was I went ahead and soldered, that wire was loose right there. I just went ahead and soldered it to that tab that we will be removing from that brass screw and putting on that audio output transformer. Screw and nut and lock washer and everything when the time comes. So that one's done. And that would have been this ground right here. And then I also soldered in the other side of this winding to pin 5, which is right there. We ran that wire all the way over here from the transformer to pin 5, you see right there. Okay, remove the old piece of wire and soldered that new one on right there. It is time to put in some orange. Yes, I don't want to get behind in my orange. Now we went ahead, we got to color in this whole brown wire all the way down through the resistor and all the way up to the orange wire. That's what we're going to do right now. So let me see, let's go ahead and get this squared away. We'll go ahead and color this. Get you in the camera here. I want to be able to have you follow me along. It's kind of hard to do one thing and keep yourself focused in the camera all at the same time. Now we're going to come down here like this. Yes, we are. Let's see, I'll go ahead and color this one more time to make sure it's plenty dark enough. Now we want to go from here. I guess it's about time for me to get another orange pen. This baby's about out of ink. And we want to bring it across till she's connected. Like so. There you go. Alright. That's what we did. That's all we did, folks. And we connected it right there. Remember that the brown wire side was connected to the bottom of this resistor setup. Well, what's next on the agenda? Oh my goodness, we're just stroking along here. Well, the only two wires we have left out of the transformer that need to be hooked up are the two blue wires. Now this black and the white is the on-off switch. They go to the primary. They will not go underneath the chassis. They will go out through the chassis hole and hook to a switch, which in turn will be connected to the plug. Now the blue wires, let me see, the blue wires are right here where I just connected the center tap, the brown wire. We have a blue wire that needs to go to pin 1 on the ABC tube, and we have a blue wire that needs to go to pin 5 on the 47 tube. That's why I wrote them down way back when we figured all that out. It made it a whole lot easier, okay? Alright, pin 1 on the ABC, pin 5 on the 47. Well, there you go. The blue wires are soldered in. This one here to pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to pin 5 on the 47. And down here to pin 1 on the ABC tube. So that takes care of all of our transformer wires with the exception of the primary, the black and white, like I said. Now, oh, must be wifey again. Well, that's who it was, wifey. She said she stubbed her toe. She was going to bed. She hurt her toe real bad. So she says, it hurts. I'm going to go to bed. I said, okay, I'll see you later. All right, that leaves us with just one thing, is what I was getting ready to say. Remember last time I said, why is this wire going from here down to here? Right there, that brown wire. And I showed you the schematic, and I also showed you the top of the chassis, a picture on the top of the chassis. Now with those two clues, or those two guidances, you should have been able to figure out what's going on. All right, let's take a look now. This wire runs from this pin right here down to this corner thing that looks like a socket. But it's not really a socket. You'll remember this was just a terminal right here. A couple of videos ago we soldered on wires. It's just a terminal. See how it's connected totally different down here onto the Bakelite socket? Nothing but a terminal. We only have 4 socket pins here. Okay, just 4. I gave myself plenty of wire, by the way, that I told you earlier. I want to have plenty of transformer wire. I don't want any real short leads there. Anyway, when we look on the schematic, we find that this thing down in the right hand corner that has 4 holes is this little jewel right there. Come on. The DYN speaker. The dynamic speaker, I believe, is what that stands for. That, ladies and gentlemen, that socket is that socket right there. Now, who the heck is that? That's probably my buddy Gary now. Oh. That was right again. That was old Gary. He just got done watching one of my videos that you folks have already seen. He gets to see them later than the rest of you. And he liked it. And that was the one where I showed everybody how to properly count the tube socket pins from the top and the bottom. He said that cleared a lot of stuff up for him. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah, this is our speaker plug. This is where the plug from the speaker is going to plug into the chassis up on top. And so let's take a look and see what we've got here. That wire from here down to here. This is the 47 tube. I've got it written everywhere. You should have seen that without any problem, okay? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pin 4 is where that wire is connected, all right? And it runs down to the speaker plug, So let's take a look at our diagram here now, our schematic. As soon as we get done with this, we will have finished this video. Let me see. Pin 4 of the 47 tube. I want you to really catch in on this now. You all should have figured this out. Those of you who couldn't figure it out, no problem, because you'll know now. Those of you who did figure it out, you really weren't sure about how to follow schematics before, what all this stuff meant. If you figured it out, you're doing great. You're making big progress, big strides. Well, here's pin 4 of the 47 tube. I got it labeled right there. Let's follow this baby down. It goes into the audio output transformer. Well, we don't have the audio output transformer mounted in yet. So we come down, and we got to go this way then. We come down. We come across. We come up to here. And we run over here into the speaker plug. Look at there. It took, you see, now on the schematic, that's what I wanted you to see here, was all the wire on the schematic. This is the second time that we've gone around with this baby. All the wire on the schematic comes down, comes all the way across, all the way up, and over here to pin 4 on the 47 tube. All that wire on that schematic, once again, is this tiny little short wire that runs from this pin down to this pin, okay? Once again, I caution you, just because there's a lot of wire showing up on a schematic does not mean you have a lot of wire in the chassis. And conversely, sometimes you have a lot of wire in the chassis that only shows up as a short wire on the schematic. Don't let it freak you out, okay? Not a big deal. One more time. Let me see. Let me turn this light off. It's causing too many problems. There we go. One more time. Pin 4 down, all the way down around, up, and into the speaker. Pin 4 of the speaker plug. Okay. There's 4 pins on the speaker plug. This is 1, this is 2, 3, and 4. It goes into the field coil. Okay, the field coil. Until next time, this is John.